All right, Hazmat Awareness, your friend. Here we go. So this is the was designed for fire rescue new hires as a full Hazmat Awareness program. So this one here, we're going to kind of skip through, not really skip through, kind of highlight the more important areas as we go through this, and utilize the emergency response guidebook that's in front of you, most of you, and then go through a 20-question quiz that I might limit down to like 10 questions or so, and then you guys go through that. So the objectives is to understand the labeling systems, identify a hazardous substance, take proper action in the event of a release, properly use an MSDS, and then how to use your emergency response guidebook. So this is 64 slides. However, we'll try to make this as painless as possible as we go through it. So what would you find on a label? Well, if you notice, there's 4 different colors: red, blue, yellow, and white. Each one of those is an indication of what kind of hazard or risk that you may find with a chemical that you're coming in contact with. So red would be the fire hazard and how easily does it burn, whether it's spontaneously combustible, to it takes a lot to burn, to it will not ignite. Health risk runs on a scale as well. It's a chemical at a health type risk, what it might do to harm you in a situation dealing with a chemical release. Reactivity is, does it react with other materials? And then other would be other special handling in situations or instructions. So as you can see here on the fire hazard, 0 will not burn under normal conditions, to 4 may spontaneously ignite. Health hazards, 0 is there is no health risk, to number 4, which causes severe injury or death. Reactivity will not react to other substances, to may detonate. And then other would be special handling instructions, any kind of special fire extinguishing methods or required protective equipment needed to handle that type of chemical. When is the label required? Whenever the chemical is transferred out of the manufacturer's original container. So with this here, some examples that are not required would be like pens, labeled pens, food, and things like that. As far as labeling goes, there's different types. There's most materials in the workplace are clearly marked, should be clearly marked. There's an HMIS label. There's an NFPA diamond, which was NFPA 704, and then there's a DOT placard. And there's what they call intermodal hazard identification codes. This is an HMIS label. As you can see, this is a fire extinguisher. So obviously it's not flammable because it just put the fire out. There really is no reactivity to the chemical, but it does pose a small health hazard if inhaled. This is an NFPA diamond from NFPA 704. It's pretty much the same thing, just instead of labeling from top to bottom, it's in a diamond shape. This is a DOT placard you'll find on anything transporting a chemical over a certain amount. They're required to have DOT placards. And this is a very small intermodal hazard identification code. It's very odd that it's that small. That's what she said. As you can see, there's a 2-digit code on the top. There's a 4-digit code on the bottom. So for those to work in your emergency response guidebook, in the white pages in the front, you'll find the intermodal hazard identification codes. With there, you'll find a bunch of different numbers from like 22, 33, whatever. I'm not sure what page it's on. So on page 17 in your 2016 guide, you'll see a bunch of numbers here. This one here says 33 on it, right?
Yeah, page down.
So polyethylene liquid. Then the bottom number, the 1203, is your identification code to look in the yellow section of the book under your identification number. And I'll give you listed in numbered order what 1203 is. And if I remember correctly, that's a petroleum product. Probably gasoline.
Correct.
Right? Okay. So that's how this works. So you see a top number and a bottom for intermodal hazard notification codes. Remember, never touch, taste, or smell any unknown substance. You can definitely ruin your day. Okay, moving forward. Some of the unknowns. So we used to know what was in this drug at one point in time, but obviously it's all torn apart. Right? This does not make OSHA happy when you see things like this. Any guesses?
It's not labeled.
Right, not labeled. What's in here?
Water.
Right, not labeled. None of these are probably hazard, but they could be. A real hazard. I wonder what this stuff is.
I don't know, but it's leaking.
Right. So we'll try to find out. So we don't do anything with pH, but we know that if it's red, okay, looking at a pH scale of 7 being neutral, anything above 7 to 14 is alkalonic, anything below 7 is acidotic. And we know that green or dark green is alkalonic and the red is very acidotic. We can tell you this is definitely an acid. Right? Still don't know what this is, but we don't want to touch gloves. What that you're finding is this is sulfuric acid, sometimes referred to as oil of vitriol, which causes severe burns. It's toxic by ingestion, inhalation, or contact. It reacts violently with water. It may dissolve concrete, and the average forklift battery may contain up to 20 gallons. Yeah. So if it can dissolve concrete, I think it'll do to rubber on your fire boots. Just saying, think about that. This is less than 8 ounces on the ground. Imagine 20 gallons. And that would be a hazmat situation, something that we're not going to deal with. Remember, don't taste, touch, or smell. It can definitely ruin your day. So what do you do now if you have a hazardous release? First, we need to report it. Second, we need to stay a safe distance. Please do not stand in and play like a puddle. All right, stay back. Secure the area. Clear the area of bystanders. Using crowd control is all we're really going to be doing, and wait further instructions. If it's a big hazmat incident, hazmat's going to handle it. All right, so any questions on the labeling systems at all? All right, let's talk about safety data sheets. Information, chemical product, and company identification. So Clorox, sodium hypochlorite, and bleach, guess what? It's all the same thing, just different names. You have trade names, brand names, things like that. You don't have a chemical name up here because that's just a bunch of different letters and numbers put together to make something. These are all the same substance, but it has 3 different names. Also lists the manufacturer's information. It has a composition information, which lists the product's hazardous ingredients and chemical abstract service numbers and the relative percentages of each. It talks about hazard identification, so physical description of material, overview of significant immediate concerns, list of potential adverse health effects, symptoms of exposure, and routes of entry, or inhalation, ingestion, absorption, things like that. So these are important for us, even in the medical field, to know what routes are going to be very bad for this patient. And it'd be good to know some of the symptoms of the exposure so you can pass it along to EMS. So the MSDS is going to be important to us to have in the safety data sheet SDSs. It talks about first aid. So if you have a copy of this, it's good to hand it to the EMS providers so they can help with treatment. This is good for the firefighters. Remember, this is basic firefighting guidance for the trained firefighter. So it's not going to work very well for the layperson with a fire extinguisher. This is more for the trained personnel like us. And it tells about the description of the fire and explosive properties. It'd be good to know when it's going to go boom on us, right? So we need to look at the different properties that are there. It also tells you whether or not they're heavier or lighter than air based on specific gravities and things like that. So you want to know if it's going to go airborne versus in lower pockets. Accidental release measures provide spill, leak, and response procedures initially, and then we look at our emergency response guidebook to kind of go for the initial isolation and then long term, whether it be day or night. We'll talk about that later on. And then describes evacuation procedures, containment, and cleanup techniques. How to handle it. exposure controls. Lists methods of exposure controls to reduce exposure and provides guidance on protective equipment that you need. Talks about your physical and chemical properties, whether it be boiling point, solubility in water, viscosity, specific gravity, melting point, evaporation rate, the appearance and odor. Does propane have an odor?
Yes.
Actual propane? No, it does not. It is an odorless, colorless gas, right?
Yes.
So what's that smell that's in it? What do they add to it? Any ideas? That's what they call mercaptan. Mercaptan is what gives it that odor.
I can tell you a whole bunch of it was just recalled because not enough of that was added.
Probably.
What's that in?
What was that?
What was that in you were talking about?
This?
Yeah.
The appearance and odor?
Yeah.
We're talking about just in general.
You said
SDSs.
you said there was an additive put in some of these chemicals
No.
that has a smell.
That's for propane.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, for propane, yeah. That is correct. Stability and reactivity, some information on chemical incompatibilities. Polymerization, so uncontrolled polymerization usually is explosive. We don't want uncontrolled polymerizations. And reactivity, so if you like pool chemicals and motor oil together, it makes fire.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we want to keep pool chemicals and motor oil away from each other, and then it burns. And you want to look to find out if something polymerizes or not. You have no idea, right? But in your book, under your chemical names in the blue section, or even in the yellow section through numbers, you'll find a bold P next to it. If it has a P, that means it can polymerize. Way to know how to read your book. Talks about toxicological information. That's the LD50-30 dose, neurotoxicities, mutagenic transformations, reproductive, stuff like that, carcinogens, and things like that. The LD50-30 is a single dose of a substance that causes the death of 50% of the test population within 30 days without medical treatment. Carcinogen is a material capable of causing cancer in humans. Teratogen is capable of causing physical defects in developing embryo or fetus. Reproductive effects, which is harmful effects to the adult male or female reproductive system. Neurotoxins are substances that have primary effect on the central nervous system. Like ricin. Mutagen, so this is anything that material that causes genetic changes in your DNA. Ecological information, which lists adverse effects on the environment. How to dispose properly, so disposal considerations. Transport information and shipping information, how it's going to be shipped, how it's stored. Regulatory information. If regulated, lists the government agencies and applicable regulations that have to be there. Notify. And then any other information, like preparation information, revision indicators, or HMIS or NFPA information as well. So there's a lot of information on these sheets, and why it's so important to obtain these for our use in trying to handle that situation at hand. So any questions on the safety data sheets? All right, let's look at the books. See the books in front of you. This is an old book. All right, so there's a table of placards for use in shipping documents and unavailable, if they're unavailable or destroyed. So in there you'll find a table of placards. So you scroll through, I'm not sure what page it's on. What page is it on yours?
8 and 9.
So page 8 and 9 in the 2016 book. This is your table of placards. So if you have an incident, all you see is the placard there. You look at the placard and look at the number that's circled, that's on there. That tells you what guide number to go to in the orange section. Through the binoculars. Right. This is used if your shipping documents are unavailable or destroyed. So they refer to the orange section based on the placard. It has a rail car and road trail identification chart, so if you can't see DOT placards, and you're not sure, or they don't have any shipping papers, and you're far away, in the white section, you'll find a list of different tank and road rail car and road trail identifications, and it tells you which guidebook or which guide to go through in the orange section if you see these. If you have a rail system in town, it's good to know what's being carried on there.
Yeah, what about the white cow or rich region?
A white car with a red stripe are dangerous. Right. That'd probably fall under your class 9 miscellaneous, so you're not sure what it is.
I think, I can't remember what Larry told me, but there's some friggin' chemical that's friggin', if it even leaks a little drop, that whole town would have to be friggin' quarantined.
Probably.
Else.
So I know that in the town that I work in, on the rail system, right by the train station itself, there's 1 million gallons of propane sitting on rail cars that's stored there in rail cars sitting there. So if there's ever an incident, thank God I live by the lake.
Yeah.
But I know there's 1 million gallons of propane that's stored there for about 9 or 10 months out of the year. That's sitting in the rail car on the track.
It's because that's the state you buy.
So, all right, so the yellow bordered pages list chemicals by UN ID number. UN is United Nations. So the ID number is listed in the yellow section in numerical order. The blue bordered pages list chemicals in alphabetical order by the most common chemical name. The orange pages are for safety information. And the green bordered pages, this is where things become difficult. You ready for this? The table of initial isolation and protective action distances sorted by UNID number. And the green section is only used, oh, this will be on your test, is only used in the section if a chemical is highlighted in either the yellow or blue bordered pages and there is no fire. That's when you refer to the green section. So you have a chemical that is not on fire that is highlighted in either blue or yellow section, go to the green for isolation distances. If it is on fire, go to the orange section. The green is no longer part of it. All right. Looking at the orange section before we go any farther and I stop the recording, in the orange section, okay, you look at what they call the hazards in the upper left-hand corner. Any page. All right, they're talking about hazards, as you can see here. Fire or explosion. It'll tell you the most serious potential hazard first. So if it's health, then health will be listed before fire and explosion. If it's fire and explosion over health, we know fire and explosion are more hazardous than health at that point. If you have anything, this will also be on your quiz as well, anything that's unidentified cargo, so you have like a UPS truck that flips over, a Walmart truck that rolls over, or something that you just don't know what's in there. Remember, Walmart trucks or any other trucks that haul multiple different chemicals are not required to be labeled because they don't meet the quantity of chemical on that truck, so they don't have to have a placard on the truck itself. If that happens and you're unsure what's in there, refer to Guide 111 in the orange section. Guide 111 is your unidentified cargo section. All right.
That's probably the nastiest one you probably ever come across.
Right. So if you look at Guide 111, it says unidentified cargo. And then you have to use that one there. All right, so any questions on hazmat? No? All right, so we're going to stop recording.